We've been making trips around the various NFL training camps this summer to catch up with some folks that we know well, and this is a guy that we've always enjoyed chatting with over the years. It's bittersweet because we actually got to have him in Baltimore last year, which was so cool. But now he's out in Detroit with the Lions. He is, of course, former Terp and the man who, ran for 7 touchdowns once at M&T Bank Stadium with Damascus. He's Jake Funk, and he's back with us now on GCR. Jake, what's going on, brother? How are you?
Good. Cannot complain.
Man,
Appreciate you having me on,
it's
Glenn.
always good to talk to you, dude. I am. It hurts me because that was so. I hope you know how much it meant to me to have you in Baltimore for a minute last year. It was like my favorite thing ever. So it pains me that it didn't get to stay that way. Jake, I remember when we talked then. Like you were really open about being able to keep doing this and everything you've
Mhm.
been through and the constant grind. And here you are in another new place this season. How do you keep the mindset of like loving it and being willing to do the work necessary at this point to in order to just continue your career?
I mean, it's definitely a mental toll, for sure. I mean, I would say that, bouncing around, especially last year. But I mean, every year is a fresh year, and that's how I kind of look at it. Every year, that you're able to be in an NFL training camp, it's another opportunity to show an organization what you can bring to the table. And that's kind of what keeps me going, is that every year is a fresh start in the NFL.
Do you find yourself like truly believing like the best is still yet to come, like that it's not just that you're clinging, it's that any opportunity be the moment that you show the best that you're going to have to show in the league?
Yeah, of course. You always have to have that. That's what drives you. The moment you lose that is when, things could start going downhill for you. So I would agree. I think that's definitely something that keeps you going.
Jake, you obviously you're out there in Detroit. I think the Lions sort of became like America's sweethearts a couple years ago, and even
Mhm.
folks here that like it's hey, it's the NFC. I might kind of cheat a little bit and like have an NFC team that I like. What is the experience like? Dan Campbell just seems like the most easily likable coach in the entire league based on his persona. What has the experience been like there for you? Is it as real as we think it is?
Yeah, I think it is very real. Being in this building, there's a lot of energy. For the first time in a long time for the Lions, they're considered one of the top tier teams in the league. And with that, there are a lot of expectations. And I think every single day in this building, those expectations are brought in and everybody's bought into them. And there's a goal within this organization is to win the Super Bowl. And every single day, it's the expectation that we're coming in and we're competing for a Super Bowl every single day.
He is Jake Funk. He's now with the Detroit Lions. He's with us here on GCR. Jake, the role that you play in that, right? Because I know the first role is I got to make the team, right? Like I understand
Mhm.
how that works. Do you allow yourself to start having those visions of like I could win a Super Bowl, or is that too? Do you have to keep it more compartmentalized than that?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that that's obviously the down the line goal for
Mm-hmm.
the organization, but it starts every single day and being where your feet are. It's attacking every single day and getting just a little bit better every single day. By the time, you hit week one, and then it's getting marginally better every single week. And then when the playoffs roll around, you should be playing at your peak. So I would say it's just taking it day by day in this organization and really attacking every single day that we're out on the grass.
I want to make sure I show respect. Winning another Super Bowl. I just want to make sure that I say that correctly, not winning one Super Bowl. Jake, a couple things I wanted to make sure I covered with you this time around. I know you've always been a special teams guy. What
Mhm.
has your experience been like with the new kickoff? I don't know if you've been involved with that
Mhm.
in what you've been doing, and how crazy is it? Does everybody have it figured out yet, or do we still have a lot to learn about what this is going to be like this season?
Yeah, I think there's still a lot to learn. It's definitely something that's a lot different. It's a lot more short area quickness kind of thing versus long speed and, a longer play, I guess you could
Is it
call it.
is it leverage though, or is it really quickness?
It's really like quickness off the line of
Okay.
scrimmage and just trying to be able to leverage, the ball wherever it is kicked. And I still think it's something that as the season goes on, you're going to continue to learn and be able to adapt to see what works and what doesn't work. It's new. So all the players are getting adjusted to it. All the coaches are getting adjusted to it. And it's just something that I think you're going to have to continuously be able to learn and adapt to be able to really figure out what works best for you and your team.
Are we at a place where players could say whether or not you guys like it, or it's still too new? Just no way to.
I mean, I think it's a collaborative effort.
Okay.
At the end of the day, it's, whatever the coaches feel what is best. But I do think it is a collaborative effort to, whether guys, like this certain style or this or that. But at the end of the day, it's a learning thing for all of us. And, we just try to, watch the tape and figure out, okay, does this work? And try different things. And figuring out what kind of pieces can go where and how to be able to really get a great kickoff and kick return unit.
Jake, you are only in your fourth year, right, in the league, but
Mhm.
obviously considering you were at Maryland for a little bit longer because of everything that you went through there. Like, take me back. How different are you today than even just like when you showed up as a freshman in College Park years back?
I I mean, football wise, I've learned a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot about the game that when you come from high school to college, there's a mental jump, and then when you come from college to the NFL, there's even another mental jump, and you learn so much about the game and how to play it, and the NFL is, I would consider, a very different game than the college level. So being able to be 4 years in, you've been playing at this level for a little bit, and you start to understand and you start to see what um how the nuances of the NFL work. And that's something that I've been able to grow in terms of just mentally over the years. And it was the same thing at Maryland. I came in as a freshman, and you're new to the college game, and as you get older and as you grow throughout the program, you're able to find out, all right, this is the nuances of college football. And there's a growing process, and I think that's very normal.
Having gone through as much as you've gone through, and I think people are familiar with the injury history from college,
Mhm.
even at a young age, do you find yourself being more of like a sage type when you're in a locker room? Do you find yourself being a guy who is more inclined to give advice to try to help young guys because you've been through probably a good bit more than the average guy at this point in their career has?
I mean, yeah, I try to. If my advice is warranted here and there. Obviously, I've been through a lot from an injury standpoint. So when guys get injured, I can understand what it is like mentally and physically.
Yeah.
So I'm able to, be able to bond with guys over that. But yeah, I would totally agree.
Married life.
Yeah.
Any different at all? I mean, I enjoyed getting to know. I think as I told you the last time we talked, I was not. I'm not like a reality TV guy. It's not my thing. So I love the story of how you all met. You got married this off season. When I got married, everybody kept asking like, "What's it like?" I'm like, "I don't know. It's no different to me than it was 3 days ago. It only got different once kids came
Yeah.
along.
Yeah.
Any different for you whatsoever?"
I wouldn't say, that at all.
Yeah.
We had been, you know, pretty close, and from, the day we started dating, and really, I mean, we got married, and the only thing that's been new is just having to wear a ring on my finger, which I've never had to do in
Right.
my life.
Bro,
So getting
bro,
getting used to that
dude.
was,
When I tell you that I told my then fiance, my now wife for 10 years, I would be more inclined to get a tattoo of a ring on my finger. I'm like, this is not about me trying to lie about being married. I will tattoo on my finger, I'm married, so that like everyone knows. It's just so foreign to me, the concept of wearing a ring. Now, obviously, 10 years in, I feel quite different about it. But at the time, I'm like, this is crazy to me, the idea of wearing a ring every day.
yeah. So I went with the old rubber one,
Nice.
just because it was a little bit more comfortable for day-to-day use. Obviously, I have another ring that I wore for our actual wedding day, but for day-to-day use, I just go with the rubber one.
The attention that has come, like the paparazzi coverage, like is that how weird has that been for you? Like, did you get used to it at some point? Is it still weird to you?
I mean, it's not. I've gotten used to it over the
Okay,
years.
all right.
At first, it was a little different, but with that, I knew that going into getting into a relationship with Hannah, that that kind of stuff could come up. But over the years, I don't really, I'm kind of used to it at this point.
Do you have a preference for who Maryland starts a quarterback against UConn in 2 weeks?
I really don't. I
Okay.
just hope they put the best player out on the field.
I understand that feeling. I know we've talked a lot
Mhm.
about like the last couple of years and the direction and the progress, and it does feel like it makes a difference that they don't have to go up against like Ohio State and Michigan and Penn State in the same division moving forward. Like it
Mhm.
feels like there could be a real chance to take a step towards, I don't want to go crazy and say like winning the Big Ten, but like something even more significant in the coming years.
Yeah, and from what I've heard, the defense has been
Yeah.
great throughout training camp,
The
and
the D line, they're like freaks, man. Like they are
yeah, from what
diff.
I from what I've heard, and it's a very different team than I guess a lot of Maryland teams have been in the past, which has been very offensive dominated.
Yep.
So, and then, obviously, figuring out who the quarterback is, that's going to be a big piece and about how the team and the direction of the team. But obviously I'm excited. I'm excited to see what Coach Locks and all of them dial up for the year, and excited to root on the Terps.
We're excited for you, man. Again, bummed that it's not. Man, I would have been so great for us if it stayed in Baltimore forever. But wherever you're going to be, as long as it's not Pittsburgh, like you just understand, as long as it's not that, we are rooting for you, and we will forever be happy for you and hoping you find success, man. At JakeFunk34 on Twitter. Remind me where it is on Instagram.
Same thing.
At
Same thing.
JakeFunk34. Jake,
Yep.
go out there, make us proud, continue to make us proud. Always appreciate taking the time for us. Thanks so much for doing it.
Appreciate you, Glenn.